Bonjour, this is Jasmine. Thank you so much for stopping to smell the roses on Rue Madame. For those of you who are new to the neighborhood, I am a writer, a storyteller, and a community builder. I write about culture, politics, parenthood, and my life here in France. And most recently, I've become an author of a children's book. I'm so excited still about that. It came out last month, if I'm not mistaken. The title is Joelle Confronts the Weather with What's in the Cupboard, available now on Blurb, so check that out. This video, I'd like to discuss why I didn't watch the presidential debate or the election coverage against the president and the Democratic nominee. I had read a lot about it. There was a lot of comments online, and it kind of tickled me. So I'm like, oh, thank God I didn't watch it. I recently talked to my good friend Ed, and he was my eyes and ears. So he told me it was quite entertaining, but disappointing for this to be a serious event. So, first, why I did not watch. Well, quite frankly, I'm sure my reason is the same reason a lot of other people chose to opt out of this spectacle. Is I just wanted to spare myself the buffoonery, and the buffoonery, I mean our president, our current president. So yeah, that's it. I just well, presidential debates are supposed to be informative, and it's supposed to let you in on the politics and what to expect and the promises that they are going to uphold later in their uh, election for Joe Biden or the re-election for our current president. New information, etc. I didn't get the impression from the feedback I saw that that was the case. If I'm not mistaken, it was just a shouting match and ridiculousness. It wasn't very helpful. It didn't give us new information, or I don't think it changed anybody's mind as far as their votes. Perhaps, perhaps. But I think people are stuck in their camps. So I think they do this, the debates, or they continue this tradition because it's tradition. We know all we need to know about our candidates. Joe Biden was the vice president. I think he was pretty vetted, or we know, his history. We've seen him for 8 years. Something new coming out of that debate, highly unlikely. And for our current president, we already know his MO. So I just want to spare myself. I already know the gist of that. But it's important to note I still plan on participating and executing my right to vote, even though I spared that debate. However, last night I was awake, well, semi awake, like in that middle stage of awake and unconsciousness, when my youngest had a hysterical burst of crying in fits, at what time was it? 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. It scared me because she may have had a nightmare. Perhaps she's only 2, and she recently got off of her nursing and she's in her own bed. I wrote a whole article on that. Check that out on patreon.com. Thank you guys for supporting my writing. It's a really cute essay, a lot more where that came from. So after I put her back to bed, and that lasted 15 minutes, it seemed like longer than that, especially with neighbors that are sensitive to that type of noise, the screeching. So I got online because I couldn't go back to bed. My heart was kind of pumping because, I didn't know if she was hurt or what. And I noticed that the vice presidential debate was live. So 3 o'clock, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, France time, was the time of the debate in the States. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm up. And it'll be interesting. And you got to support Kamala. Um, Kamala. And well, not support, but see what she has to say, like get a gist of where she's coming from. And also the vice president, the current vice president, I for the longest time I thought he was a mute. I guess anybody, seems like a mute when you're next to the president, but I never heard him really speak for long lengths. I swear I thought he was a mute. I knew he was kind of extreme and borderline psychotic with his views and his policies, but him speaking and getting a gist of where he's coming from, it was intriguing to get that perspective. So I'm like, okay, so I'll I'll take that leap of faith, and hopefully this will be helpful and productive as far as, I don't know, changing my mind or getting more information. So my views on the debate, I wrote on our Facebook Rue Madame page, Serenity now, serenity now. Because it was so obnoxious. I think that's just politics in general. But not politics, but the playing of politics. You know how you have to play politics? Like the talking around the subject, not answering the question, and the showboating, the lies, the fluff. It was a lot of fluff, and it just drove me up the wall. If I heard the American people another time, I thought my head would explode. Like it was so generic. Like I felt like I was watching an episode of Scandal, The American people need this, and the American, like, it's like I don't know, like, it was so mechanical and scripted. It seemed like, stop saying an American people. We're individual human beings, and think of another term to, you know what I mean? Like, it was I don't know, the human connection wasn't there when they just constantly saying, oh, the American people need this and the American people need that. Okay. So that was my first initial reaction to it. Especially the not answering the question part. For example, the question was, if something was to happen to the president or your president to be, in the case of Kamala, have you discussed the plans on what you would do to take over, or how would that work? Neither of them answered the question. And it was just so frustrating. And I'm like, I expect that from the red team, because they don't have any answers or any ideas or any plan of anything. It's just lies and dog whistles and hate speech. So I'm like, okay. So yeah, boo to them. But the blue team, like Kamala, to answer the question, what would you do in case something happened to Joe Biden? She gave us a list of her credentials. I'm like, did I hear the question right? Oh, I was a district attorney, and my mom was this and that. It was just like, what does that have to do with anything? And I was just annoyed by that. But there was some good points, I guess. Try to get some positive out of that mess. And apparently this debate was a lot more civilized, calm, and grown up than the first one, which doesn't surprise me. Like I said, happy I didn't watch that, but I got the feedback and the gist of it. So some of the points I thought was good were when there's a lot of memes right now of Kamala saying, I'm talking, excuse me. There was a lot of interrupting that I thought was so rude. Like, the vice president was talking, but if you have to continue your point, make it good. It was just, he added a lot of nothing to the end of his statements. Like, okay, if you're going to keep talking, talk about something. He just kept going about, nothing. The moderator, I guess, bless her heart, she tried her best. But if it was me, I would have been like, thank you. And I wouldn't even kept saying thank you. I would have continued with my next question. Anyways, but I guess that's the game of politics. It's the strategy. I get it. And I saw a commentary on a popular politics commentary show on YouTube, and they were talking about how Kamala should have did the same thing. She wasn't aggressive enough, and she should have interrupted and continued. Very childish, in my opinion. So that's some critiques, I guess, that I heard about Kamala. Like, yeah, she should have just buckled down and like steamrolled him, But I disagree with that. I thought she was pretty good and consistent and competent, all the things that we want at least from our politicians. One thing I didn't like, I know it's very small, very, very small, was how much she like laughed off his comments, laughed off his rudeness. And I know she has to do that. She doesn't have to, but it's in her best interest as a woman of color, and the sexism and racism that will be piled onto her if she's not, doesn't have that demeanor, that decorum, etc. So I get it. But I just, and watch my video of Kamala is no Nina, because it just reminded me of all the opposite of Nina, because Nina has all the two that you need to get, she's no play. She's not for play. And I guess Kamala was playing the game, and I think that's part of it. So congratulations to her. I think she did well, despite the cringiness of politics in general. So that's my gist, I guess, of it. It was okay. Oh, yeah, and one more thing. Kamala was like, yeah, they're coming to get you. People with pre-existing conditions, they're coming to get you. I love that part. People with breast cancer, this and that, they're coming to get you. So please vote. Please vote, because they're coming to get you. But other than that, it was I don't know. But I wanted to share with you guys some of the posts that I saw from the friends I have on Facebook. So let me pull that up for you. One post that I saw was Kamala Harris is every Black woman who had to remain calm in a work meeting when lesser qualified white men rudely spoke over them, spouting less than mediocre ideas while the person in charge does nothing to stop it, and everyone judges you for appearing frustrated. Yes. So I guess that's the tightrope she had to walk, and I get it. Another post that I thought was good was by one of my patrons, Erica. She posted a quote from Kamala Harris. For example, they created within the White House an office that basically was responsible for monitoring pandemics. They got rid of it. They're talking about the Directorate of Global Health Security and Biodefense, a unit under the National Security Council that was established by the Obama administration and focused largely on pandemic preparedness. The team was dismantled in May 2018. I don't think she mentioned that during the debate, but yes, this is true. And I thought it was funny how the vice president brought up like Ebola or SARS or the swine flu. He brought up the swine flu like, yeah, that could have been a lot worse if it was more contagious. So that could have been just as bad as the coronavirus. It wasn't. It has nothing to do with anything we're talking about now. And it's like a what if, maybe, perhaps, possibly could have in the past happened. But what are we talking about? The people that are dead today. It was just like, really? That's your defense? During the Obama administration in 2009, the swine flu wasn't as bad, didn't require shutdowns, but it could have been blah, 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 if, when, whatever. It was just like, really, dude? That's what you just said. Again, the fluff just really pissed me off. Just the misleading, the distracting, the deflecting. Yeah. Again, very nauseating. A post that I loved also was by one of the interesting people highlighted on Rue Madame, Kyra Harris Bowden. She wrote in her post, winner, Kamala Harris. MVP, the fly. And I'm sure everybody knows the fly that landed on Pence's head. And that was right during the moment where they were talking about Breonna Taylor, rest her soul, and if she got justice or not. And of course, Pence, gave us the runaround with his response. But it was just like perfect timing when the fly landed on his head. Another post that I saw was an 8th grader gets it. Speaking of the 8th grader, the 8th grader who mentioned or has questioned, oh, why are we arguing? Why can't our politicians get along? I guess that was the gist of what the little kid was saying. And Erica posted, I wish someone would tell this 8th grader that defeating fascism is more important than not arguing with people. Yeah, I agree. But that goes to show you where we're at. Like I had a conversation with Spencer. If y'all know Spencer, head over to Patreon. He's in one of my essays and several essays actually. Some people don't really care about politics. They just want our politics to be intelligent, competent, nice. That's it. If you present yourself well, you're well-spoken, you have that Harvard, Yale, Stanford degree, and they really just want that. Yeah, they can be racist. That's fine. Just don't be so rude about it. And it really upsets me how that's what a lot of people I see, that happy-go-lucky, kumbaya, I wish we could just talk it out kind of narrative. And I think being sold these pipe dreams and being sold this idealistic, far-fetched, never going to happen, dream isn't helpful. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people say, we can disagree and still be friends. I agree with that. We can disagree and still be friends. And I think that's an important point. But I also see when people say we can disagree and still be friends, but if we're disagreeing about racism, if we're disputing about racism, if there's a misunderstanding about you looking at me as a person and my rights and my freedoms as an equal human being, then no, we can't be friends. So I think that's where the line has to be drawn. Like, don't give even kids, this 8th grader, don't give them the false impression that, oh, let's just be nice. Even though he's a hateful bigot, be nice to him. It's okay. No. We want to vote them out. We want a lot of them in jail for the racist hate speech that even the president spews. Like, we just can't let that roll off our backs because people are dying. People are being killed. There's attempted lynches. Has been lynchings. There's been killers on the street targeting peaceful protesters. This isn't just, oh, we just disagree. And another point, I know I'm going in, but another point that I saw someone point out, Kamala mentioned how they have the support of even some people on the other side, like George W. Bush and his cabinet at the time, Colin Powell, etc. I get it. Oh, yeah, we can disagree. But he's like, to a lot of people, a war criminal. He, like, put all of our soldiers, the people that fight for us, in danger for no reason, and wars that was just unnecessarily done. And it's just a disagreement. People are dead, but it was a mistake. I'm not going to get punished for it. And just disagree with me and be nice. No, I'm sorry, but like, just this ideology that politics is just your opinion. No, that affects my life. That affects all the people that are in jail and prison, who are in, for-profit prisons. Your vote determines what happens to my kinfolk or my neighbor or the people in my community or people in other marginalized, exploited communities. So it's just not a disagreement, and we're not just going to be nice. Like, we can be respectful the best we can, but given this 8th grader this kumbaya is not realistic. Like, people are in the streets protesting. It's been months. People are dead from coronavirus because of poor decisions from people that are just disagreeing with you. Like, no, I'm sorry. Okay, I'll get over that. But no, we can't just be friends. And, we were trying to defeat our enemy. We're not trying to play nice. And I think that is the weakest link with the blue team. Like, no. We don't have to be evil and sinister and corrupt, but we don't have to add the fluff, add the platitudes, oh yeah, I wish he gets better, the president. Next. Anyway, Breonna Taylor. Anyway, Ahmaud Arbery. Anyway, no, I'm not. No. Okay. No, I'm not saying that. I don't care. So yeah, that's what I thought of the debate. Tell me what you think. I'm interested in hearing your feedback and so on. Head over to Patreon, check out the latest creative writing. I appreciate your support, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.